Dear literature students, we have already completed 14 stanzas of Elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray. Today we'll be starting from the 15th stanza onwards. Now the poet is insisting that among these forefathers who are lying in the graves, there could have been great people, maybe statesmen, great poets, great artists, or even great kings, but the only thing is that they could not get the opportunity. So in the this 15th stanza, he is talking about Hampden, who John Hampden, who was a celebrated English statesman who refused in 1636 to pay the ship money tax levied by King Charles, the first, for which he was arrested and fined. He was killed then in a battle. Now, Dauntless is fearless, and he was known for his fearlessness. So, he's talking about Hampden. And then Milton, he was a great poet of England. He wrote the most famous epic in English, The Paradise Lost. His poetry is famous for a majesty of style and sublimity of thought. Then, in the same stanza, he talks about Cromwell also. Oliver Cromwell was protector of England from 1663 to his death. He was one of the parliamentary leaders. In the Civil War, he became general of the Bounty Heights. He gained battle after battle. After the execution of Charles I, he was installed as the head of Commonwealth. Now, let us take the stanza. Some village Hampden, that with dauntless breast, the little tyrant of his fields, withstood. Some mute, inglorious Milton here may rest. Some Cromwell, guiltless of his country's blood. So, as I have already told, that Hampden here stands for his fearlessness. Who, breast here means heart, little tyrant of his field. He was the one who never, liked someone to interfere with his rights. The reference here is King Charles the First of England. Mute, inglorious Milton, John Milton, he became famous after his death. Before his death, was not so famous, though he wrote, The Paradise Lost, which is the classical epic poem in English. And this poem is famous for sublimity of thought, grand style, and he says, some mute inglorious Milton here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. Now he says, the poet says that many promising persons have to live and die without acknowledgement of their merit. Now, the poet gives examples. His great statement by giving three particular examples. He says that the abilities of some eminent persons were equally to be found in some of the unknown villagers as well, but as they had no opportunity to show their talents, they remained unknown. In England, in the reign of Charles I, John Hampden bravely stood against the arbitrary taxation and tyranny of the king, and thereby became famous. In the village also, there might have been some village Hampden who might have displayed equal courage in the matter of opposing oppressive measures of his tyrant landlord. Again, there might be lying in the obscure unknown graveyard of the village the mortal remains of a poet. Though unknown, he could rival the poetic excellence of famous John Milton of English literature, or a man who, though unknown, like the great patriot as Cromwell himself, though he was not stained though he has not stained his hands in shedding the blood of his countrymen as Cromwell had done by killing Charles I, thus paving his way to the throne of England. Therefore, these unknown forefathers of the villagers should not be slighted. Now, afterwards, Gray inserted in their place three English names: Hampden, Milton, Cromwell. These names are from comparatively recent English history. This fact is something certainly worth attention. It makes the transition from classicism to nationalism. In this stanza, Gray shook off the shackles of pseudo classicism. He thought that English historical examples were equal in dignity to those taken from Latin literature. It is an index to a profound change going on in Thomas Gray's mind. So he is giving in this stanza, he is giving examples of three great people in their respective fields, and what he is saying is that among these forefathers who are lying in the grave could have been a brave man like Hampden, or a great poet like Milton, or a great patriot like Cromwell. But the only thing is that, they could not get the opportunity to manifest or to, unravel their talents. And now he says, Cromwell, guiltless of his country's blood. Cromwell is, guilty of killing Charles the One in order to make his way towards throne. So he says, maybe among these forefathers could have been a person like Cromwell, but then these forefathers, they are so simple that they are not guilty of, shedding the blood. The applause of listening senates to command, the threats of pains and ruins to despise, to scatter plenty over a smiling land, and read their history in a nation's eye. Applause, appreciation, fame. Listening senates, the parliamentarians that listen to the speeches of the parliament that listens to the speeches of the country gentlemen and statesmen, to command, to get the attention of the audience. So the village forefathers could not be so fortunate as to catch the attention of the parliament and the appreciation of the audience by their speeches. Despise, to disregard. The threats of pain, to defy the oppression of the rulers. To scatter, to spread. Plenty, in abundance, richness. Over a smiling land, over the rich country. To scatter land, to England. Read their nations, read their history in a nation's eye, to gather from the looks of the people whether they are happy or not. So again I'll read out the whole stanza. The applause of listening senates to command, the threats of pain and ruin to despise, to scatter plenty over a smiling land, and read their history in a nation's eye. Thomas Gray speaks of the ill fate of the simple villagers lying dead. They could not have any opportunity to rise to eminence or to fame because they were poor and the circumstances did not favor them. They were doomed to an obscure destiny. Their fate did not allow them to become members of parliament or occupy other high posts. Hence, they could not display their orations. They did not find any occasion to shine in political field. There was no occasion for them to defy the threats of tyrants and to abolish oppression. They could not get chances to compel the government to repeal the taxes which were cruel and were not in the interest of the people, and thus they could not get honor and self satisfaction from their conduct and looks. So, they could not get the opportunity to be to be parliamentarian, and so they could not get the opportunity therefore to scatter or to spread richness over their country, so that they could read whether the people of their country are happy or not.